And here we go. It's Drop the Mic Monday. It's Mike Eccleston here live once again on the Legends Podcast Network on Lenny Melnick FantasySports.com, a network that's growing more and more each day, and I'm lucky enough to be part of. Thank you to all who are listening and all those in the chat room. Come on in, take your shoes off, grab a drink, just relax. I've got a show for you today. I have a lot on my plate, so let's have at it. I will be the first one to tell you that when it comes to David Price, I've been very hard on him, just like a lot of people. I've always viewed him as a talented pitcher who just couldn't rise to the occasion. The biggest moments, when, the stakes are high, stakes are raised, the pressure mounts. That's where, pitchers show you the difference between the big dogs and the guys who are just good. Postseason time, and for Red Sox against the Yankees, especially at the stadium in the Bronx. That's when David Price never failed to shrink, which is part of the reason why I was kind of puzzled when the Red Sox first acquired David Price. I'm thinking to myself, he didn't pitch well against the Yankees, and he struggled in the postseason. Why would they keep him in the division and acquire him? Because, those games against the Yankees might as well be playoff games for Boston. Known as the guy who gave up the home run to Derek Jeter for his 3,000th hit. From when he was a Tampa Bay Ray to a member of the Boston Red Sox, didn't matter how good or bad the Yankees were. If you were wearing pinstripes, you owned him. Before yesterday, Price's first 6 starts at the Yankees as a Red Sox, he was 0-6 with an ERA of 9.79, almost 10. A batting average against of 380 and 21 extra base hits allowed. That's impressively bad. You'd think, when you see an ERA of 10, you're thinking maybe that's 2 or 3 starts. No, that's over a longer period of time. But then you got last night on Sunday Night Baseball. He gave up just 2 runs on 6 hits in 6 1/3 innings. I get that it's a small sample size, but, you're seeing signs of him improving. Just him as a pitcher, but just his maturity. You're seeing him, rise to the occasion. The way he pitched in the postseason last year, being the World Series MVP. That's something that, nobody would have ever thought David Price would be. From a choke artist to the World Series MVP, being probably the biggest reason the Red Sox won the World Series last year. And then coming in and pitching against the Yankees, at the Yankees, and pitching really well. These are stepping stones for him. He always had the talent. It was all mental. Those big moments. Some guys just can't seem to get over those humps, that big hump. And it appears that David Price has gotten over that. Like I said, I believe David Price is maturing before our very eyes. See, great pitchers, you just know what you're going to get from them. on a given start. Like, even when they don't necessarily have their, A game going, you know that when you hand them the ball, you're going to get at least a quality outing. Great isn't just being able to throw a complete game shutout. It's about what you do the next game. When it came to Price, you never really knew. I believe that he's becoming one of those guys who can be handed the ball in a big game, in a big moment. He appears more cool, calm, collected under pressure. I remember there was, a couple years ago, we were talking about him not making a start against the Yankees because something came up. And a lot of people were just like, oh, okay, he's just, he's not pitching against the Yankees because, he doesn't want to pitch against the Yankees because they own him. And then he goes into the postseason and he pitches great. And then he comes into this season, pitches well. I mean, he pitched well again last night. Sunday Night Baseball with everybody watching. Talent is great and everything, but consistency in results, that's a form of greatness as well. Consistently being good. Being consistently good is greatness to me. Stepping up in the postseason and against those big bad Yankees are steps forward, for sure, for David Price. Speaking of those big bad Yankees, Gary Sanchez. Another guy that many, including myself, have been very hard on in the past because of his lack of, seeming to care and his lack of hustle when it comes to either, on the bases or behind the plate. Last season, it was complete lost season for him. He was terrible. We're not even talking about him not being good. He was completely awful. But, he has shut those mouths up this season. Don't doubt this man's power. You could talk about he strikes out too much. He goes out of the strike zone too often. You can even talk about his lack of hustle because he just tends to be lazy. Don't doubt his power. When it's all said and done, Gary Sanchez will go down as a top 5 power hitting catcher of all time. And when you really think about it, it's very attainable. You guys are going to have to help me out here. There's Mike Piazza, guys like Yogi Berra, Johnny Bench, Carlton Fisk. Pudge only hit 30 or more home runs once. Not many catchers can and have been able to hit for power quite like this kid has. When you think of a catcher, when a catcher hits, 20 to 25 home runs in a season, that's a big deal. Hitting 30 to 40, you just don't see it that often. Especially since catchers don't even play, they don't play every game. They'll sit, even the best catchers in the league, they sit once a week. You'd think there'd be more competition for that historically, but anyway, just talk about a comeback season. Gary Sanchez has hit as many home runs already through 2 months of the year as he did all of last season. It seems like he hits one every day now. People were trying to figure out who the real Gary Sanchez is. I mean, I think this is the guy that you're going to get. His average is around where it should be. His on-base percentage is about right. He's going to strike out at a solid clip. And he's going to be a 30-plus home run kind of guy. I can see him hitting anywhere from 30 to 35 home runs. That's just, I mean, he'll probably hit more this year. He's eyeing a career year in that department. When it comes to a home run rate, he eclipses that monster first year when everyone was trying to figure out what was going on. Remember, that was ridiculous. He hit a home run. He was hitting a home run pretty much every day. And all of a sudden, you aren't hearing about fielding blunders and, not really hustling and, him costing them games and base running miscues. I've called Gary Sanchez the most frustrating player in the game. And you know what? He's up there. I stand by my statement because he can still be frustrating. But damn, that kid can hit. Don't doubt his power because he has a lot of it. And I don't even want to hear about him playing at Yankee Stadium because it's not like, I call the short porch home runs, the first or second row in, I call them Derek Jeter home runs. Those are not Derek Jeter home runs that he hits. They're going out pretty much anywhere. His bat has been a reason the Yankees have won 9 straight series and 13 of their last 14. By the way, I don't care if you hate the Yankees. I don't care if you love the Yankees. It doesn't matter. Take a step back and just take a look at the standings and tell yourself that without Stanton, without Giancarlo Stanton, without Aaron Judge, without Didi Gregorius, without Miguel Andujar, without Luis Severino, the Yankees are in first place. Over the Red Sox and the Rays, who have been absolute fire. Just think about that for a second. Oh, I don't think too many people realize the significance of what the LA Dodgers did this weekend. They didn't just sweep the Phillies. They're placing their stamp. And I know that people don't want to... There are some people who don't want to hear about the Dodgers right now just because of the fact that they've been to back-to-back World Series and they lost both of them. I get it. And everybody is looking around the National League trying to find somebody who can beat them or someone who can compete with the Dodgers, the big bad Dodgers in the National League. And they, when Philadelphia, when they got JT Realmuto, then they traded for him, traded for Gene Segura, signed Bryce Harper. When they signed Andrew McCutchen, they signed David Robertson, thinking, okay, you know what? The Phillies, they already had a solid young up-and-coming team. And they added all these all-stars. This is the kind of team that can compete with the Dodgers. The Brewers are up there, but they just don't have the pitching. But no matter what you want to believe, the National League still belongs to the Dodgers. The team who went to back-to-back World Series and traded Yasiel Puig, Matt Kemp, and Alex Wood to Cincinnati, signed A.J. Pollock, who spent a lot of this season hurt. I had doubts about their depth. I obviously brought up the